Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. We've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Live from Los Angeles, I'm Christina Pink here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. Good morning, guys. Happy to join you.
Good morning, Christina. How are you?
I am wonderful.
Thanks.
I'm glad that you didn't wear gray, too, because then we would have had an issue.
He got on gray slacks, though.
Yeah, I do.
How you doing, Skip?
You know what? Christina Pink might be the coolest name in sports. It just has a good ring to it.
Yeah, because
It's not Shannon Sharp, but that's your stage name, right? You just you just created that name, didn't you?
I did not put you and that name together because when I saw the name that she was going to be filling in for Ebony, Christina Pink, I was like, I don't know. And then we passed each other in the elevator. I was like, is that? And then.
And now.
Yeah.
And then here I am.
You're best friends now, right?
Yeah, me and
That's how he works. He kind of,
And
tries to get close so that you'll be nice to him.
So that I'll take this sign. I see how this works.
No, we got to stick together.
Okay.
Hey, Skip, how you doing?
Next question.
All right, well, let's get things started. Later on, we'll have Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott joining the show. Can't wait to hear what he has to say. But first, let's get started with the latest in the saga with Kawhi Leonard. ESPN reports that Gregg Popovich traveled here to Southern California to meet with Kawhi and discuss the issues between the two sides. This comes after Friday's huge news that Kawhi reportedly wants to be traded by San Antonio and wants to come to L.A., preferably to the Lakers. The ESPN report adds that Kawhi told his camp he did not want to sit down with Pop and made it difficult to be reached on purpose. Kawhi is also reportedly angry over how the Spurs handled his quad injury and over comments made by both Tony Parker and Pop that questioned the injury. Now, Shannon, will this meeting help this situation?
Well, you never know. Skip, I think in a situation like this, when you're dealing with a superstar talent, you exhaust all the possibilities. And at some point in time, do we flip the page or do we close the book? That's the question that Gregg Popovich is going to have to ask himself.
The book is closing.
Oh, it is closing? Yeah. Okay, well, let me go and open my book.
Yeah.
Skip, and I think from the very beginning, I thought I made myself very clear that Kawhi Leonard was going to take these comments, scathing as they were, he was going to take them personal. Because he's looking at it from a situation like, hold on, there have probably been times, and there in every professional athlete's life, that he plays in a game that maybe he's less than 100%. Maybe he should not even have played or she should not have played at all. But somehow they summon up the courage to go out there and gut it out. And at the end of the day, when you're out there on your stage, all the fans see is the team name on the front of the jersey and your name on the back of the jersey. They don't care what it took for you to get to that point. They just want you to go out there and be healthy. Skip, I'm in a very similar situation. When I was in Denver and Mike Shanahan first got there, Skip, I had really bad ankle problems. And he was complaining about me not practicing. I said, Mike, I'm having to shoot up 2 to 3 times just to play. And you want me to practice? Then he instituted a policy. No practice, no play. He later, if you don't practice at least by Friday, you couldn't play. But you have to understand Kawhi's side of the story, the situation, Skip. He's looking at it like, I'm hurt. They think I'm faking. But I also see what happened to little Isaiah Thomas. He lost $150 million, a team that he laid it on the line for. He gutted it up. That very team that he gutted it up for, what did they do to him, Skip? They traded him. And Isaiah Thomas will never get that $150 million payday. So Kawhi Leonard says, I'm going to err on the side of caution, and I don't care what you guys say. But that being said, Tony Parker's 100%, what do you say, 100 times worse. Skip, that bothered him. That bothered him. And you, Gregg Popovich, well, our staff has cleared him. You got to talk to Kawhi and his team and his medical staff. But, it seems everything is good to go. It can't hurt, but I don't believe it's going to help.
You getting this?
I'm getting playback way in my ear.
Mixed minus. I'm taking my earpiece out. Thank you very much. If you guys can fix that. It's hard enough to deal with this man without hearing his voice twice in my ear at the same time. Okay, just for the record, to your point, remember, all that was happening to Isaiah Thomas happened after this had started with Kawhi. So he couldn't early on this season say, look what's happening to Isaiah, because it hadn't happened yet.
No. The injury, he saw how Isaiah looked
but he hadn't seen him traded yet because this started way back when. Remember, he only played 9 games this year.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, Skip. That happened in the summer. Kawhi was injured. He wasn't playing. And he saw Isaiah gut it up, and he gets traded, and then he looks like a shell of himself just from 6 months earlier.
Okay. So I'm going to speak strictly as a long-time San Antonio Spurs fan here. And I'm going to tell you, this whole thing comes across to me as simply pathetic on Coach Popovich's part. This is so beneath the dignity of the best organization in sports and a coach that even you call, right?
Yeah.
Maybe the greatest coach ever.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got him up there in what, top 3?
Yes.
And think about what's happening right now. He is groveling. He is begging. He is chasing a Kawhi Leonard who, according to the ESPN reports, has been dodging his phone calls and avoiding meeting with him at any cost. Pop had to actually fly to Southern California to try to track Kawhi down and get him to sit down so they could have their first and maybe last heart-to-heart, man-to-man, to say, I'm just assuming, because there haven't been any reports about what was actually spoken, but I'm going to assume that Coach Pop said, look, I just want you to know, man to man, that I'm disappointed in how it all unfolded, but we think we did the right thing. I know you think you did the right thing, but I'm willing to forgive and forget and clean the slate and clear the air and try to go forward if you're willing to do the same. I'm doubtful that Kawhi is willing to do the same.
I agree.
Because this whole thing flipped. Kawhi Leonard was the perfect teammate in the perfect San Antonio Spur until just before last season started when he fired his agent, who is now suing, and he chose his uncle, Dennis Robertson, to take over all of his affairs. Remember this? Mm-hmm. So now the uncle is presiding, and I believe that the uncle, you want to talk about Dennis the Menace, has, in my view, poisoned Kawhi's view of the Spurs. I think the uncle wants him out of San Antonio. The uncle resides in New Jersey. I don't know if he wants him on the East Coast or if obviously Kawhi has made it public that he wants to join the Los Angeles Lakers, and he'll do it now or later. It depends on whether you want to trade him or let him just play it out and then join as a free agent. Okay. But to me, it all comes back to that magic move of I fire my agent, I let my uncle, a former banker, take over all of my affairs, and all of a sudden he turned on the Spurs. So can I walk you back through the timeline? Because now, according to Kawhi's camp, they are trying to vilify Tony Parker and Pop in the comments they made as the last straws, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, can we put that in the context of what actually happened? I'm going to say it again. I've got the dates now. We've been talking about this for a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. February 22nd, so around mid-season, the most conservative and patient medical staff in all of sports cleared Kawhi Leonard to play with a bruised quad. They had some name, tendinosis or something. I don't know what it was, but it was a bruised quad, and they said he is good to go. This team, as you know, is so patient with its players. You got something? Take time off.
They will.
You know, that's their whole reputation, their class, their character, they're player friendly. So when they said on February 22nd, you're cleared, that's a bombshell, man. And it's hard for Kawhi to argue out of that. And I know he went to two guys I know, a surgeon and a physical therapist in New York, and he tried to get second opinions on this, but it took a whole month till March 17th, until finally his teammates, his veteran teammates said, we got to find out what's going on with this guy. On March 17th, this team had a chance to finish third in the West, behind, obviously, Houston and Golden State. And I thought they were perfectly positioned if Kawhi would come back 100%.
Right.
I thought they could make a run at the Western Conference because, as you know, with Kawhi, they had Golden State down 23 points in the middle of the third quarter in Game 1 of the previous year's Western Conference Finals.
They did.
So they have this heart-to-heart meeting, and I guess it didn't go well. I don't know what was spoken or not spoken, but I think Kawhi Leonard said very little. So it took.
Are you surprised by that?
He never says a word.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay? So it took 6 more days until one Tony Parker, who, by the way, has 4 rings to Kawhi's 1 ring. So he's decorated, right? He's been there and done all that. And he was asked about Kawhi's injury, and he said, my injury was 100 times worse than Kawhi's. I'm good with that. You were not good with that. But I'm still good with it because Tony Parker ruptured his thigh muscle, his quadriceps. It tore into in a freakish accident of an injury against Memphis in the previous year's playoffs. He rushed back. He missed the first 19 games. He played 55 games and played pretty poorly by his standards because he was a shell of himself on what was still a shaky thigh.
Correct.
Okay? So that happened on March 23rd. Then they keep waiting and waiting and waiting, and there's no Kawhi, and we get to game 1 of the playoffs, and they lose at Golden State 113-92, predictable. And after the game, Coach Popovich was asked once again for the 9,000th time, think Kawhi's going to come back before this is over? And he said, you'll have to ask Kawhi and his group. So they took that as a negative connotation of his dismissing his new team as his group, okay? And so they are holding it against Tony Parker and Coach Popovich for making negative comments about them that burned the bridge. Well, I'm here to tell you the bridge was already burned. It was already Kawhi quitting on the San Antonio Spurs.
I disagree, Skip. And the problem that I have with Tony Parker, okay, he has 4 rings. How many medical degrees does he have? So he's ill-equipped to diagnose Kawhi. Skip,
so is everybody then, right? Everybody in the locker room.
No. Here's the thing, Skip. Some of the greatest doctors have been stumped, profound. And, well, we can't find anything. They send you this place, that place. Okay, Kawhi is saying, I'm hurt. I got to trust him, Skip. He knows his body.
Okay, I'm telling you one thing. I know for a fact, even on second opinion, no structural damage. No knee, no hip, no Isaiah kind of career-threatening. It's something musculature. It's something in the soft tissue.
But only he can feel what he can feel.
Bruise. It's a bruise. Okay. He took a knee in the thigh. Shannon Sharpe took God knows how many knees in the thighs.
But Skip, I'm wired a little differently. And it bothered me, and it did, and it kind of stained my relationship with Mike when he thought I was faking, and I didn't.
Did your doctors back you up that you were getting shot up?
Yeah, he knew it.
Okay.
Hell, he come in the room and see him got a needle this long in my ankle.
It would be that long.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he saw it.
Okay.
And he's questioning me, why am I not practicing? Bruh, I'm taking 2 and 3 shots.
But at least you had your medical team on your side, I think. Right?
At the end of the day, the medical team worked for the staff. They worked for the San Antonio Spurs. And although they want what's best for me, they're going to probably err on the side of the team. Skip, I have no problem with Popovich going down there and Kawhi, if I said something that you felt that I attacked your character, your integrity, I apologize. Skip, apologizing doesn't mean that someone else is right or wrong. It just means that I'm willing to, my friendship and my relationship with you means more to me than my pride in being right or wrong. So I have no problem with Gregg Popovich. I have no problem with anyone apologizing. Skip, Kawhi's earned that. He should have, being a player of his status, he should have been able to earn the right to say, guys, I'm hurt, and not have it questioned.
Okay. I'm just going to remind you of this. Kawhi Leonard, in my view, didn't quit on the Sacramento Kings. He quit on the best organization in sports, the San Antonio Spurs. So if I'm ever going to question a medical staff, if I'm going to rank the ones I'm going to question, I'm going to put the Spurs at the bottom. And I agree with you. Who knows? I've told you I wish I could invent some machine whereby we could all put our hand in the machine just to feel what the player's feeling, and we could either say, come on, I can play with that, or, oh, my God, how can he even walk on that and let alone play football or basketball, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but we can't know that. So only one human really, really knows the truth of this, and it's Kawhi.
Right.
But if I'm going to bet on other humans who are doctors and trainers to tell me that he should be playing, it would be this group. So to me, the bridge is so burned on Kawhi. He's trying to blame everybody but himself. I'm going to blame him to the point I'm never going to trust him again. So even, I don't know, like Coach Popovich, remember a year ago, he talked LaMarcus Aldridge out of a trade request.
Right.
So I assume there was some of this operating here. But LaMarcus didn't quit on the team. He tried. He failed in the playoffs. He wasn't very good in the playoffs. He was healthy.
He just wasn't very good.
He came up kind of small.
Right.
And so I think it discouraged him and frustrated him. And so he's like, maybe I can't live up to my big free agent deal. I need to go somewhere else. But in this case, the Kawhi set the bridge on fire and it burned to the ground. So how can you trust him enough to offer him $219 million for the next 5 years? Would you do that?
The Spurs seem to be willing to take that chance because they know what type of talent that he is, Skip. I believe, and I could be wrong. We may never know the severity of what Kawhi was facing or what that injury was. We know they give us the medical field can give us a technical term or a definition of what it is, but we won't know the severity or what it felt like to Kawhi. But it's just hard for me to believe someone of his character would just say, you know what, I'm done, I'm setting it down. Now, it makes it really hard. It made me want to take fewer shots once Mike started questioning me.
Yeah.
And Kawhi, all of a sudden, when he hears Tony Parker says that, it's less likely for him want to come back.
Well, after that, he wouldn't even show up on the bench because I think it shamed him so much he couldn't even come to the arena and go sit at the end of the bench in civilian clothes because he was afraid of what people might yell at him from the third row, right?
People attacking me, fans attacking me, media attacking me is one thing. But one thing that we can't have happen as professional athletes is what? Teammates. That's what hurts them. Skip. Criticism by fans and the media is to be expected. It's when one of your teammates offers some of the harshest criticism that stings the most. That's what stung him the most. Was Tony Parker says, I had an injury that was 100 times worse. I'm back, and he's not back. Maybe Gregg Popovich, he thought that Coach Pop would have said, you know what, guys, I'm going to take Kawhi. I know our medical staff has cleared him. But if Kawhi says he is injured, I have no reason. Kawhi has never given me a reason not to believe anything that he said to me. Now, that's the way I probably would have handled it, dealing with him. And knowing how his personality and how he's wired. Skip, you can't coach and you can't talk about. Some guys, doesn't matter. You can ride them and it doesn't bother them. Some guys, Skip, you got to always keep your arm around him because if you don't, you'll lose him. And that's what happened to him with Kawhi. When once Pop removed his arm and he let Tony Parker say what he said, and then he probably...
And by the way, I think he just wanted somebody to call him out publicly. Remember, that could work positively, too. Like, you got me, I'm coming back.
But let me ask you a question. Be that as it may, do you think knowing what you know about Kawhi and looking at him and knowing how he's wired, does that strike you as something that would motivate him?
I don't think anybody knew at that point because he never says a word to anybody about anything. So you're shooting in the dark of who is he, what is he, because we're not sure. So you put him on the hot seat in a team meeting behind closed doors. That didn't work. So I think Tony Parker decided, I'm going to put him on the public hot seat and see if he'll respond to that.
I could have told them, I could have saved them a lot of time. Looking at his personality from the outside, knowing that he talks very little in practice during the game, and at any point in time when he's around them, that's the absolute worst, wrong thing
and then
could have done.
He has turned that into the #1 excuse to me of why he wants out, which brings us to the final question of, how are you going to get out, Kawhi? I don't think he's in that great of a spot here because he clearly has made it public because of the leaked information from his camp, probably from Dennis Robertson, that he wants to be a Laker. Well, how are you going to pull that off? Because San Antonio isn't going to give him to L.A. for nothing. So,
It's the same thing with Kyrie. Once teams know that your superstar is disgruntled and he wants out, they're going to give you pennies on the dollar.
That is
true.
Now,
it's being reported that he's made it abundantly clear. He's not signing a long-term deal with anyone other than the Lakers. So now you've basically rendered yourself, it's either to the Lakers and take what they offer us, or Skip, who's going to give you top value for him when they know they only got him for 1 year?
Well, the one with all the pieces to give you top value is obviously the Boston Celtics. And yet, if he won't agree to sign longer term, you're going to give up Jaylen Brown and I don't know,
or maybe Rozier or a pick.
Or heck, even Kyrie maybe.
And Kyrie's already made it abundantly clear. He's not re-signing until 2019 because he stands the chance to make anywhere between $80 and $90 million more dollars. So it doesn't make sense for him to sign long term if you were to make a swap. So Kawhi really does control the card, Skip, because he's made it abundantly clear. In 2019, I'm going to be in the Lakers uniform. That's what's being reported. So now that teams know that, I'm not finna give you Jaylen Brown. I'm not finna give you a pick. I'm not finna give you any of Marcus Morris when I know I only got the guy for 1 year, Skip. No. So really, he really does control all the pieces. Now, you can ship him anywhere you want to.
Well, he ultimately does. I'm not sure he does at this moment.
Yeah.
His camp, and Dennis the Menace is trying to control it. All this is leaked from his camp. Yeah. Remember, the Spurs leaked none of this.
Yeah.
Everything you know to date has come from Kawhi's camp. The reason you know that Pop groveled and crawled to Southern California to find Kawhi was only because they leaked it.
They leaked it.
And it makes the Spurs look worse and worse.
Except when they're in my house.
Yeah.
I don't like leaks, but I like leaks that come out because I need to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's how we keep people on the up and up. Because think about all the things that's been happening in the world today. If we didn't have leaks, we wouldn't know what's going on. I need somebody to leak me something about you.
Yeah, there's nothing to leak.
Yeah.
It's all out there.
You probably be Gregg, you probably be on that Johnny Walker. You know,
Me?
Yeah, you.
You got the wrong guy.
I mean, I'm on that here, you on that Walker.
No, I'm not on.
You don't like that Johnny Walker Blue?
My worst vice is Diet Mountain Dew. That's it.
That ain't no vice.
End of story.
Well, look, even with this whole situation, the one thing that signals with Gregg Popovich going out to Southern California is that communication is there, which hadn't been there before. But just because you request a trade doesn't mean you get a trade.
No.
You brought up LaMarcus Aldridge last year. So nobody's rushing San Antonio. We know that.
Skip.
We'll see what's next. But guys, we've got a little more to talk about here. Tom Brady. Did he tell everybody how much longer he'll be playing in New England? We'll discuss that one next.
No mercy.
Well, ESPN posted this image on Instagram of Tom Brady telling Oprah that his retirement is coming sooner rather than later. They added the comment, quote, Tom Brady says he's still motivated to keep playing, but he knows he can't play forever. Brady responded to that in Spanish, saying, quote, 45, which means 45 in Spanish. Meanwhile, MMQB's Albert Breer said on The Herd yesterday that the Patriots talked to 4 teams before the draft about possible trades for Rob Gronkowski. The interesting thing is all 4 teams, the Titans, Niners, Lions, and Texans, all have ties to Bill Belichick. So, Shannon, what do you make of all of this with the Patriots?
Again, Skip, I've been saying this for the last couple of days. When he's always been like this, I've always known Tom to be like this, is that he's talking, saying absolutely nothing. But in this tweet or however he's social media, he's toying with Coach Belichick. He's basically saying, I'm going out on my terms because Mr. Kraft has echoed that Tommy, he calls him Tommy. Tommy says he can play until 45, 50. Tom Brady said he would like to play until his mid-40s. One person that's never uttered a timeline or an age in which Tom Brady's going to play to is one Coach Belichick. This is Tom Brady's way. Now, he's done it a couple of different ways, Skip. One time he was on a camel in Qatar. I'm messing with you, Coach Belichick. The other time he was on a yacht in Monaco throwing a football.
You won.
I'm messing with you, Coach. Now he posts this, 45. Coach Belichick, contrary to what you think, you don't control how long I'm going to play. I got the one guy on my side that you don't, and he signs your check. So when rubber met the road, when we had to make a decision, I won out over you. I still think that rubs Coach Belichick the wrong way. It's the first time in all the years he's been the head coach, he's had his hand slapped by the owner. Because for the most part, Mr. Kraft has given him carte blanche. Do whatever you want, however you want, as long as we win it. Boom. And it's worked out really well for everybody, Skip. 8 Super Bowl appearances, 5 wins, all those championship, AFC championship games, they're appeared in. So I just believe this is Tom Brady's way of toying with Coach Belichick, letting him know, I've still got a lot of control over here. This Rob Gronkowski, now Skip, it's hard for me to believe, and that Coach Belichick, I understand he has ties to Bill O'Brien. He was his offensive coordinator. Mike Vrabel, the head coach of the Titans, he played for him.
He did?
It's hard for me to believe that Coach Belichick would trade that guy to an AFC team and have the possibility of him coming back to haunt him. Now, could I see him trading him to Detroit or San Francisco? Absolutely.
Okay.
And
there were connections there. Bob Quinn is a New England guy.
Matt Patricia,
the
head coach,
obviously.
And he has a he likes
Kyle Shanahan.
He loves Kyle. He knows John Lynch because they've done a deal before with the Jimmy Garoppolo. With this Rob Gronkowski thing, Skip, it's hard for me to believe Mr. Kraft's denial. because when it came out that there was a headbutting and he gave Coach Belichick an ultimatum, they released a statement. Tommy and Coach Belichick and Mr. Kraft, we're united as ever. Only to come out a week later that Mr. Kraft kind of corroborated all the things that have transpired. Like egos need to get in check. So it's hard for me to believe him now on this denial when he's denied things before and they've come back to be true.
On all of the points you just made, I do agree. And then like times 10 on every point. Because for me, this all means that the Cold War between Brady and Belichick is only escalating.
It is.
And it's a Cold War. It's a quiet war, but it is escalating like crazy because when he drops the 4-5 out on social media, it's in your face,
right.
Coach Belichick, because he wants the coach who wanted him gone to know, no, I'm right where I was from the beginning. 4 more years. You got me for 4 more years, Coach, and you wanted me gone next year.
Or you can be gone
or
and I'll be here without you.
That is exactly right. Now let's move to the Gronkowski story. Every time I read over the last month that Gronkowski, these hazy reports about he could be traded, I would just scoff and say, there's no way they're going to trade Rob Gronkowski. I don't care what the money is. He's too good. What do you call him? The biggest threat, receiver threat in pro football?
Yeah, he's the best non-quarterback on the offensive side of football.
Okay. So all of a sudden yesterday, the story breaks that, oh, wait a second, he talked openly about trading Gronkowski to 4 teams with which he has the connections we just detailed.
Correct.
All of a sudden it rang true to me, and it makes me wonder if he turned on Gronkowski because he feels Gronkowski turned on him and sided with
Tommy.
The TB12 method, right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he's an Alex Guerrero client along with Tommy, right?
Correct.
So for Belichick, who's all about loyalty, oh, well, he turncoated me. I'm going to get rid of him. See how you like that, Tom Brady?
Right.
And now I'm back to this. Do you think that Robert Kraft interceded for a second time here and said, no, Coach, you cannot trade Rob Gronkowski?
That's what was reported.
In the same way that you cannot go forward with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback next year, this coming football season, and you can't push Tom Brady out the back door.
Correct.
You cannot trade and part ways with Tom Brady's favorite receiver and probably his favorite player on the team, Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
Do you think he did that? Because I do.
Because it was reported, now we don't know the truth level of this, that Tom threatened to retire if they traded Gronk. Now,
and that got laughed at, scoffed at, dismissed. Now I believe it. Yeah. I believe Tom at least threatened to retire, and he would threaten to only one person, to Daddy, to the owner, right?
Because here's the thing, Skip. What Tom Brady is doing with these social media posts is saying what he can never utter the words to say.
Yep.
But by posting that I'm on a back and cutter while you guys are in OTAs, your guys in OTAs, your guys in camp, and I'm throwing a football in Monaco. Okay, 45. He's saying all the things he wants to say verbally, but he's doing it through social media.
Yep.
So he's talking.
And he's doing it in a ha-ha way.
Yeah,
like
subtle, you know.
Tongue-in-cheeky sort of.
It's like someone bumps into it. Excuse me, and then they do it again. Excuse me. Now, hold on, wait a minute. You doing that bull job on purpose. You doing that on purpose.
That is true.
You ain't once it's an accident.
They bump into you with the smile on their face, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is what Tom is doing, and I believe it. Mr. Kraft, and I love him because he's a very good man. He's always been good to me. But it's hard for me to believe him, Skip. Because when they came out, released that statement about all these fallacies, and that never transpired, and then 1 week, 2 weeks later, he started talking about, there's a lot of egos, and I'm surprised that we've been able to keep it this long. Basically, he was giving Seth Wickersham, who broke the story, he was giving him credibility that everything he had said, basically, was very true.
Yep.
So it's hard for me to believe that, like, okay, of all the things that could get circulated, why Gronk? We've never really heard no stories before about Gronk getting traded, but it just happens to be this year. All the upheaval that's going on, we never hear anything out of New England. This is getting out, like you said, leaks. They're getting out for a reason. Because somebody wants the outside world to know what's going on inside. That's not an accident. There's a reason why for the past 17 years, nothing got out of New England. And over the last 9 months, everything that's happened has gotten out of New England. There's a reason.
Especially from Coach Belichick.
I don't know who leaking it. I like leaks, though, except in my house. Had one, too.
So, speaking of Mr. Kraft, the man you have so much respect for, he's about to, at some point pretty soon, sooner than later, he's going to have to make the biggest football decision of his career because he's going to have to pick a winner in this Cold War.
Yeah.
To me, at some point, it's going to escalate to the point where he's going to have to say, Coach, I'm sorry, but I got to side with my quarterback, and I got to go a different direction here because it's not going to work between the two of you going forward.
Because each one, Coach Belichick and Tom Brady, keep taking subtle shots.
Yep.
They might seem subtle to us, but the other views it as a head-on collision. Nah, this is not subtle. You're making it abundantly and crystal clear to me the direction that you want to go in, and you're making it clear to me the direction that I am going in. I agree, Skip. Something's going to have to give.
And I'm going to say it one more time. What happened in the Super Bowl was unconscionable that Malcolm Butler didn't play. And there had to be more to that story than he had a bad week of practice or he was late. What would he miss the team flight to get there to go?
Correct.
It had to do with something about Coach Belichick just going a little haywire, rebelling against the organization, his form of protesting protesting the fact that he got his hand slapped. Well, okay, I think I won't play Malcolm Butler. I call it sabotage, maybe not out-and-out sabotage, but it felt like he was going completely against the grain because he's out of sorts. For the first time ever, he doesn't have full control of the franchise.
Right.
And if he had gotten away with trading Rob Gronkowski, I just Brady was going to hit the fan at that point.
Skip, we talked about it in the week leading up to the Super Bowl that Thursday night. We see Coach Belichick at a game. I'm like, hold on. All these Super Bowls that Coach Belichick has been to.
It was different.
We've never seen.
No.
You don't even see. You see him at practice. You see him at the media day, and that's it. Coach Belichick's out with the Super Bowl. I was like, either he's very, very comfortable, or he's saying, "Do it your way, Bob."
Yep.
You and Tommy, y'all got all the answers. Do it your way. I'm gonna go and do my thing.
That's
Come on.
what he's saying.
Tell his girlfriend or fiance or wife, whatever.
Yep.
Come on, we going to the game.
Going to the game. Wow, interesting. This thing is on a collision course, and there's only one man who can make a choice here, and it's
Go to
Kraft.
Go to Denver, Coach Belichick.
You'd like that?
Yeah, I love it.
Can he play quarterback?
No. Hey, I love Vance too, but if I got a choice, Vance Joseph or Coach Belichick.
Really?
Yeah, what I'm taking.
I would take that. I would give him a shot. See how he did.
I put it to you this way.
Yeah.
If Coach Belichick were to come up on the market, every franchise, 31 other franchise, would be willing to fire their coach on the spot for a chance just to talk to him, let alone hire him.
And maybe he would get exposed for the first time without Tom Brady because he got exposed in Cleveland.
Because he knows how to get them players. He knows who to get and how to get them.
He was 4 years the head coach in Cleveland and had 3 losing records because he didn't have a quarterback.
The only coach that's ever won in Cleveland is Paul Brown.
Okay.
Hell, he got a team named after him. So unless you him, you ain't winning in Cleveland. And that was way back then when they had Jim Brown. You got to have, Skip, the bottom line is you got to have great players to win. That's what it comes down to. Now, we can get all this, well, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. Look at the coaches that are in the Hall of Fame. You look at the coaches that won. You look at the players. There's a reason why Don Shula has the most wins.
I'm with you.
You get Johnny Unitas, you get Bob Greasy, and you get Dan Marino. You're going to have a lot of wins when it's all said and done.
Okay. I do admire Coach Walsh because he built it from scratch.
He did.
And he picked the players. He picked them.
Well, you might say he had 2 of the top 5 players of all time. He did pick them. Well, hold on. Well, you got to give Coach Belichick some credit because he picked everything that's there. He planted the garden. He tended to the garden. He harvested the fruit. So give him some credit, Skip.
He made the luckiest pick in the history of football. He got Tom Brady in the 6th round.
He planted the garden. He cultivated.
One seed just blew in.
Yeah, he knew it.
Nowhere. Hey. Blew in and it lit right in his garden and it rose up into the biggest plant ever, Tom Brady.
Jack did make the Jack and the Beanstalk. He did trade something to get those jelly beans or those beans or whatever they were that he planted. So he give him credit. Give Coach Belichick credit. And Coach Belichick, I trust.
Well, fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of a Belichick. That's what I smell.
Yeah, it's not looking good, Skip.
There's been endless amounts of noise this offseason surrounding New England. Talking about Tom Brady, by the way, he turns 41 in August, but I think he'd play till 50, really, if you let him.
No mercy.
What about T.O.? We know he's been wanting to get back in the league. Well, Terrell Owens is supposed to be inducted into the Hall of Fame in August, but he said recently that he will not be attending the ceremony and will celebrate somewhere else. But TMZ posted video of T.O. at a Boys and Girls Club last week, speaking highly of the Hall of Fame. Take a listen.
Best thing that you can ever have, and that's the Hall of Fame. And I'm very fortunate to be a part of 300-something odd guys of probably 25,000 guys that have played in the National Football League. So I'm just telling you, if I can make it, you girls and guys, y'all can make it.
Love that. But Shannon, are you seeing a change in T.O.?
Before T.O. said that he was not going to be in attendance at the Hall of Fame, he sat in this chair the day before, 2 days before, and said how excited he was. And he was very looking forward to that moment.
He did.
Is he going to change? T.O.'s going to be T.O. I hope he comes to the realization, Skip, I'm one of the few people that understand what T.O.'s going through because I felt on the merits of what I was able to accomplish. I should have been a first ballot. I also went in on the third ballot.
You did.
I also was upset, but I was happier that I was going to get a chance to stand in front of millions of people that were going to be watching and the people that was in the audience. And I was going to be able to tell them how I got here today to be able to give this speech.
And your background is relatively similar.
Very similar to T.O.'s.
Yeah.
I hope T.O. comes to the realization that to be able to tell his story about his grandmother and his upbringing and all the people that got him from Alexander City, Alabama, to that stage today, I hope that means more to him and to share that moment with millions of people than being vindictive or being petty and getting back at the people that he feel wronged him.
That's correct.
I just really hope that, again, like I said, I'm going to reach out to T.O. T.O., stay by your phone. I know you're watching. I'm going to talk to him today, Skip. And I'm just going to, I've become really close to T.O. I think he views me somewhat as a brother. He knows I'm going to tell him the truth now. He knows that. I'm not everybody's big brother, Skip. I'm not everybody's friend because I will tell you what you need to know, not what you want to hear. Some guys respect that. Some guys want that. Some guys just want you to tell them, bro, you right. Yeah, you should do that. You should have said that. You right. That's not me. I hope T.O. does come to the realization, Skip, and not the day after the ceremony is over, that this is a once in a lifetime. You're never going to get this big of an audience again to tell what your grandmother and what the people that got you here today, what they mean to you.
That is a fact that he should take to his psychological bank forever and ever, and I'm not sure he will. To me, this is my view, Terrell Owens wants his cake and eat it too. He wants to make his appearances as he did yesterday, touch people's hearts, tell them how much it means to him to be one of the select, very, very few who are in the Hall of Fame.
Correct.
Tell them what it means to him. Tell them what it could mean to them as the Boys and Girls Club. And yet he wants to keep his martyr card, or he wants to continue to play the victim of the Hall of Fame voters. He wants to keep the chip on his shoulder that he's had from day one in pro football. And the difference between Terrell Owens and Shannon Sharpe, even though there are many, many like scary similarities, then we get to the bottom line. And Shannon Sharpe was one of the greatest leaders in the history of pro football. Shannon Sharpe was one of the great teammates in the history of pro football, and Terrell was not. Terrell, in the end, was a solo act, and he wants to continue to be a solo act apart from the Hall of Fame. So he's going to refuse to give in, I think. I hope he changes his mind, and maybe you can help change it. But it appears to this moment, he will not give in and give his induction speech up in Canton in front of the people who kept him out for 3 years. Well, obviously, our Chris Carter, great player, he was kept out for 6 years, right? And we can go on and on. You three, and there are many people who got wronged, right, for a number of years. I've always said you're either in or you're out. You should be first ballot or not ballot, you know, like. So now I look at, let's look at the Academy Awards. There have been great actors and directors who've just completely shunned the Academy Awards. I can go back to Marlon Brando and George C. Scott and Woody Allen. They won multiple Academy Awards, and they just said no to it. But you wouldn't hear them make an appearance and say, it's such an honor to have won these Academy Awards.
Right.
They're just done with it.
Right.
They don't want it. They don't want to be associated with it. But here's Terrell. He's going to continue to make appearances talking about how much it means to him to be a Hall of Famer, because I know him well enough.
Yeah.
You could see it in his eyes and his heart, right?
Skip, it's the ultimate.
It does mean, yeah.
You know why, Skip? Because it's the ultimate validation.
Okay.
You get into the movie business, you act. The ultimate validation is not only getting nominated, but you win that Academy Award because you're saying your peers, oh, wow, I'm one of the greats. Very few women have ever won a Best Oscar or Oscar and a supporting role.
Okay, but if you don't believe in the voting process, then distance yourself completely. You should. They act like these guys acted like they were ashamed of it.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to associate with it at all.
And sometimes they have something to do with, well, I think I really should have won for this award.
Correct.
For this performance, and I didn't win. I mean, I think Denzel could have won several times.
I totally agree.
He won for Training Day. It's hard for me to believe he didn't win for Malcolm X.
Okay, I'm with you.
But Denzel can't like, hey, y'all shafted me on that one. I ain't going. Forget y'all.
Well, he could.
Yeah.
If he wanted to.
Susan Lucci should have never, ever thought about going to the Emmys after she had done snubbed her 20 times. After about 10, I'm done with y'all. Y'all not going to get 11, 12 and have me showed up there and clapping key and when I'm seething.
Now it's like a career achievement award, right?
So, no. It's the ultimate validation. You played this game, and you don't think about, I don't think anybody gets into the game saying, you know what? Hall of Fame is my ultimate goal. You want to get in, be able to take care of your family, win. For me, I say everybody, some people don't really care about winning. They say they do. They want to make as much money as they can, or they want the perks that comes along with being a professional athlete. For me, I wanted to be able to take care of my grandmother, win, and then I was good. Whatever happened after that, Skip, I was going to take it.
Yep.
So if an all-pro Pro Bowl came along with me taking care of my grandmother, winning, I'm good with it. And then the Hall of Fame, Skip, think about it. I think I was, 260? I think I was 267, 268 at the time of me going in.
What do you mean?
267th guy. 268. Yeah, I think
to get in. Okay, I got it.
Of all the men, they've been playing football. It's coming up on the 100-year anniversary.
It's an incredible honor. I've told you before, to me, it's the greatest honor in sports.
Yes.
There's something about being in the Pro Football Hall of Fame that even transcends baseball, basketball, hockey,
and
whatever.
To see, I mean, you Skip and you see, I mean, to see the guys, growing up and to see Amin Joe Green and the Buckets and before their past, Ray Nitsky and Deacon Jones, and to see him like, man, I'm with you guys.
Yep.
I'm with you guys. I just want T.O. to realize the magnitude of the moment, how special he is, how fortunate he is, and to say, you know what, guys, I'm gonna swallow. You know what? Yeah, I'm upset. Yeah, y'all wrong me. You know you wrong me. But sometimes, Skip, for me, knowing that you were wrong is good enough for me. I'm gonna go out there and give my speech. I want the world to hear how I got here.
So how many of the previous Hall of Famers have refused to be inducted?
None.
Zero.
None.
So Terrell likes that because that would make him the first and the only, right?
Well, I mean, being the first is not always the best. Judas was the first person to ever betray somebody. You don't hear people naming their kids Judas, do they?
No, they don't.
And Benedict Arnold, when he came along. So, no, I mean, the first, there are a lot of times that first is good.
Well,
but in this situation,
the reason I asked him when he was sitting here was on that Saturday night, he was the only inductee who did not show up in Minneapolis. Even you were up there, right, for the TV show.
Yeah, for the honors.
Yeah.
Well, Skip, it's tough because the first 2 years, I was waiting for the phone call because normally they have you in the convention center. And it got painful because guys that weren't getting selected, they were getting left. And the disappointment, Skip, I mean, it's tough. Well, okay, they start with 15. Okay, you hear they're down to 10 and you're still in the mix. And then, hey, you're the last guy off the board. So now you got to wait another year. So it's painful, and I get it. Me, I happen to be working, but I'm not so sure, Skip, that I would have been there. They would have had to flown me in because a lot of guys, they did that. Because when we were there, you got to walk out for the halftime of the Super Bowl. Yep. And then they introduced the new 2011 Hall of Fame class. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great, Skip. There's nothing like it. And from that point on, I don't care how many Super Bowls you win, the first thing they're going to say when Tom Brady, Hall of Famer, they ain't going to mention 5-time Super Bowl champ. No. That HOF precedes everything.
It does. So Terrell has a chance to be the first at one other thing. He could be the first active Hall of Famer to return to the playing field, right?
Yeah.
You think it's crazy? I don't dismiss it. Yeah. As Christina pointed out, Edmonton has his rights. I would encourage him, if he really thinks he can play, he should go to Canada.
No, Canada is.
Why not?
No.
Well, just go show him.
Well, Joe Gibbs did come out of retirement to coach again, but he was never the same.
Well, I don't know. Terrell he is freakishly fit.
Skip, he's 8 years removed. 8 years, not 8 months. He's 8 years removed, Skip. He hasn't taken those hits. His spidey senses.
But I got you. But you got to be impressed. He ran 4.4. Yeah. It was on the track, on the UCLA track the other day. But it looked legit to me. Yes. He looked like he was moving at 4.4. Yeah.
I've never doubted. Yeah, he's always going to be in shape. But, Skip, it takes more than shape and more than speed to play that game. Skip, that's a grown man game. I've seen guys that say they're tough go across the middle one time and take that. Back when they could really hit you, they don't really hit now, Skip. No. T.O. don't want those kind of problems.
But to his credit, he would go over the
middle.
middle.
T.O. go across the middle. That's why I have had him rated my second greatest receiver of all time. Yep. Because his ability to run the route tree, go across the middle, big play, run after the catch. He had no weakness. Yeah, he dropped a few balls.
He would drop balls.
But a lot of guys dropped a few. Everybody wasn't going to be Steve Largent. But, man, like I said, I'm going to call him today. T.O., be by your phone. I know you're watching. I'll call him.
He's lifting while he's watching, right?
Nah, he probably just up. He probably done jogged down to Starbucks or something and got some Frappuccino or something. A latte or something. Yeah, he done got to work out. He done something. He done ran 2 miles or something. Now,
I would love to see you talk him into going up there.
I'm going to give him my best shot.
I think you might be the only human out there who can pull this off.
I would give him my absolute best shot, Skip. I will do that.
There's a mystique that comes with the Pro Football Hall of Fame, that gold bust, that ceremony. There's still time, T.O. Go to Canton.
That's what hey, when they mention Denzel, what they say? Oscar winner.
They do. They don't say training day Oscar.
Yeah, they say Oscar winner. Right? Yeah. Go on and get them more. Go on up there, T.O.
All right, we'll leave it there now. Is Hugh Jackson on the hot seat in Cleveland? We'll discuss that one next.
No mercy.
This morning at the World Cup, Cristiano Ronaldo scored another goal and Portugal defeated Morocco. Take a look at this awesome header off the corner kick. Ronaldo now has 4 goals in the first 2 games of the World Cup. Guys, how impressive has Ronaldo been in the tournament so far?
This is how impressive, right?
He's
the GOAT. He's got the GOAT thing going, right?
On the biggest stage, he says he's the best. A lot of people go back and forth. Is he Lionel Messi? All I know is this. In 2 games, he has 4 goals, and he's come up big.
Yes.
So you want to see the best in the biggest, brightest of moments? Play the best. I don't know. I ain't no great authority on soccer, but it's hard to believe that there's a better player in the world right now than that guy.
So tomorrow, can I wear the GOAT mask in honor of Ronaldo?
No.
Your LeBron GOAT mask?
Well, hold on.
Because it's defunct now. It's disqualified.
Messi might come and get 4 goals.
No.
Then what?
No, he won't.
Then he might.
But he's already got a LeBron blight on his resume.
What if he gets 4 goals and then the game-winning penalty kick at the end?
Well, he missed a huge penalty kick, and you can't.
He can't do nothing about that.
You try to do the LeBron eraser, just erase it.
That's
and
on his
resume.
But I tell you what I can do. If I get me 4 goals, I can push it down a little bit, and you be talking about that instead of that.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm all for Ronaldo. Okay. I'm the GOAT tomorrow.
Me too.
Yeah. This is the GOAT. Okay. I got to get me some GOAT like whiskers, right?
You can't even grow no beard.
I can grow a beard.
You think you grow a beard?
I could.
You shave like 3 or 4 times a day, just to make sure you don't got no hair on your face.
I'm not a facial hair guy, but I could do a little goatee maybe.
No. No.
All right, guys, let's move on to the NFL. The Browns are coming off a winless season, but New Jersey odds makers give them better Super Bowl odds than 7 other teams. Can you believe that? And former Redskins GM and Browns draft consultant Scott McCloughan tweeted, quote, "Don't sleep on the Browns this year. Mark my words." But not everything is positive in Cleveland. Yesterday, OddsShark wrote that Hugh Jackson has the best odds to be the first coach to be fired. So, Shannon, do you think that Hugh Jackson is under the most pressure?
Yes, he is, Skip. He was on the helm for 2 years. He won 1 game.
1 in 31?
1. Now, what do we determine as success? The question is, what does the owner, Jimmy Haslam, what does he define as success? Now, you can't get off to an 0-5, 0-6 start because you have guys that's on his staff now that's been head coaches. Todd Haley was a head coach. Gregg Williams was a head coach.
Good point.
So if he gets off to a slow start, they're probably going to move very quickly in a different direction. Skip, if you look at this team offensively, they're more talented than the Jags. And the Jags was the surprise darlings of last year.
You just said a mouthful now. They are, and I agree.
I defy anybody to tell me that they're skilled players. Even at the quarterback, it's hard for me to believe that Blake Bortles is better than Tyrod Taylor. And you look at Carlos Hyde, you look at Nick Chubb, they drafted, Josh Gordon, Jarvis Landry, Corey Coleman. You tell me that offensively, skill position for skill position, that the Jacksonville Jaguars have a better skill.
And by the way, just to add a quick point to that, very soon Baker Mayfield will be better than Blake Bortles. But go ahead.
So with that being said, Skip, if he gets off to something like let's just say the first 6 to 8 games, he's 3-5, or he's 3-3, 3-4, something like that. Okay, now he's on to something. But he can't get off to that slow start that he's customarily got off to and expect to help keep his job. They've upgraded. I think they're better offensively. I think they're better defensively. So, yeah, he's under the most pressure because he only has 1 win in 2 years. He needs to get off to a fast start to make sure he finished the season as the head coach. Then Jimmy Haslam will have to weigh how much success did we actually have.
Unfortunately, I am with you on this, and I am a big Hugh Jackson fan. I know him a little and like him a lot, but he is in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was not hired by the new GM, John Dorsey, who has spent time in, as we know, Kansas City and Seattle and Green Bay, but especially in Kansas City. And John Dorsey chose Baker Mayfield with the first overall pick and shocked the world when he did so. Was that not against the grain? Was that not? Did anybody see that coming? I don't think anybody saw it.
Not until the last week. Up until that point, they were talking about Darnold and Rosen and Allen, and then out of nowhere.
So all of a sudden, you have to ask yourself, is Hugh Jackson his guy to go into the future? Because they are poised to make big noise. And I agree with Scott McLuhan. I've been saying that for a month on this show. Look out for, don't sleep on them. He said, mark my words. He means that they're going to make big noise in that division. They're going to beat some teams you don't think they should beat.
The Cleveland Browns can say, don't sleep on us. We're going to surprise some people. There's another guy that we're going to be talking to a little later that's the quarterback of another team that doesn't get that luxury.
That's true, but that's America's team, so that's different. You just made some statement earlier in the show about how bad the Cleveland Browns has been when I talked about Bill Belichick lost 3 out of 4 years as head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Well, all of a sudden, they're poised to be the feel-good story of the year in maybe in sports. And seriously.
The thing is, Skip, is that when they have, like Braylon Edwards, he has that breakout year, and he's never the same. Peyton Hillis has that breakout year. He's never the same. They can't have their – Derek Anderson has that breakout year. He's never the same. The question is that when they get these really good players that trend towards being great, can they have – 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Can they put it together? Josh Gordon is still very young. Coleman is in his 2nd year. Jarvis Landry is in his 5th year? Njoku is in his 2nd year. So they have talent, Skip, to go beyond. So now can they put it together in succession, 1 year, 2, 3? Can they string some years together?
So is it possible Hugh Jackson is a better coordinator than a head coach? Because I always liked him as a coordinator, but now I look at the head coaching resume, 1-31 in Cleveland, and he had 1 year in Oakland. Remember, it's just 1 year. They got off to a hot start, 7-4, and then they finished badly to go 8-8. And remember, Reggie McKenzie then took over as the new GM, and what did he do? He fired Hugh. He fired him after 1 year. And they had gone out to trade for Carson Palmer, who had come in and had a couple of good games, and then he lost 4 of his last 5. And that was the end of that regime. Like, you had your shot, Hugh. We're going in a different direction. So Hugh's head coaching resume is not impressive.
Yeah, and here's the thing, though, Skip. I'm afraid that if he doesn't succeed here, I don't believe he'll get another opportunity to be a head coach.
I don't know about that, but you're probably right. So the point is John Dorsey positioning this thing to bring in his guy or to elevate? Has he fallen in love with? I don't know his relationship with those other 2 guys.
Well, Todd Haley was head coach in Kansas City, but I don't know, was he there before?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either because
maybe.
I know.
And then I don't know if John Dorsey likes him or not.
Right. The question is, Skip, what is success for Cleveland? You won one game in the last 2 years. You were 0-16 last year. What is success to John Dorsey and Jimmy Haslam? Is it 7-9? Is it 8-8? Is it 10-6? What would you determine success to be? Because that's going to be the ultimate determining factor. You win 0 games 1 year, and then if you win 7-8, Skip, that's got to be an improvement. That's got to be success.
I would say 7 games. That was my target.
Yeah.
That they're capable of winning.
I got them between 4 and 7 myself. But Skip, if you look at them offensively, Skip, they're loaded. They're loaded at the skill position.
That kid they drafted, the cornerback out of Ohio State.
Denzel Ward. So you got Duke Johnson, you got Carlos Hyde, you got Nick Chubb, Corey Coleman, Landry, Josh Gordon, and Joe Koo. Skill position. Can Tyrod be consistent? Can he give him consistency?
Okay, so if you're Hugh Jackson, do you go forward with Tyrod to try to save your job or keep your job? Or do you say, I should go with the GM's pick, Baker Mayfield?
I'm trying to save my job. Because guess what, Skip? If I go with Baker, somebody else is going to be coaching them next year anyway, Skip. So I'm trying to save my job. And if there comes a point in time during the season that I see slippage in Tyrod's play, and I think Baker gives us the better chance, well, I'm going to him. But I'm starting the season unless Tyrod just steps off a cliff. And all of a sudden, Baker Mayfield looks like a second-year Carson Wentz in year 1. Oh, I'm not touching that situation. I'm trying to win me some game. I'm trying to hold on to this job.
This is where we part ways, because if I'm Hugh Jackson, I try to attach myself to Baker Mayfield going forward and show that he's my guy and I can be his guy, because the future is Baker Mayfield. It's not Tyrod. And I like Tyrod a lot.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. The difference between what we see with the Cleveland and, say, a Ben Roethlisberger, that team in Pittsburgh was equipped to go to a championship with steady play. Now, Cleveland hadn't had that level of success. So it's hard.
They don't have that defense.
Right. It's hard for me to believe that a rookie quarterback with this team, now they're talented, ultra-talented offensively. It's just hard for me to believe that a rookie quarterback can come in and lead that team to where they need to be.
I got to tell you, Baker Mayfield is something. Now, I can't vouch for him off the field. I've told you from the start, I'm skeptical if he can keep himself together off the field. I have no doubts on the field. He is not afraid of any moment or stage or situation. Wow. He will rise and shine if he can stay upright off the field.
Well, I like Tyrod because he doesn't turn the ball over, and so he's not going to have his defense playing a whole bunch of snaps. I agree with Scott McClure. They're going to surprise some people because they're too talented offensively. Now, I don't know Greg Williams. Now, you know, Skip, he is an aggressive defensive coordinator. He'll be coming, have people jumping out the sky.
All I know is everywhere he's gone, great things have happened. I know they had the one scandal, obviously in New Orleans. But
that wasn't no scandal. They just knocked the stuffing out of old Brett.
Oh, that
Brett was old. Just knocked the stuffing out of it.
So because you put bounties on it, it's okay with you?
Skip. When you pay a guy $19 million to go sack the quarterback, what you did? You just put a bounty on the quarterback.
Oh. So
all you did. So a little extra $500. You got making $15 million. I give you an extra $500 to go get the quarterback. That's gonna rile you up.
Go hurt the quarterback? You're good with that?
You in the hurt business.
Oh.
That's what you do.
Oh, so we want to change the rules, says Shannon Sharp.
Football is about hurt.
Oh.
You get to literally assault somebody on the field with no repercussion. So that's all they did, Skip.
Well, it sure cost a lot of people a lot of games and a lot of money.
Well, because they wanted Brett to go to the Super Bowl.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they did.
Huh.
Oh, can you imagine Brett Favre, Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl? Skip. Huh?
Wasn't he 40 or 39?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean Payton said, Greg Williams said, dial it up.
Dial it up. Bounties all around. Everybody gets extra money. Just hurt him.
No,
Brett Favre couldn't even get off the training table after the game. Had to be carried to the bus. Yeah. You like that?
That's what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
When you leave the field, let them know you was out there playing.
Sounds like some Favre hate across the table.
What hate? We got him first.
Huh?
You already know what we did to him in Super Bowl 32.
You got him.
Whip it up.
Yeah. You got it.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. I can't argue with that.
Go back to sipping the tea champagne.
Yeah, you know.
Sips tea. All right, I don't know about surprising
by the way,
people.
that's not tea he's sipping, but it's okay.
That's
Something else.
Yeah, I don't know about surprising people, but the Browns have interesting pieces. Let's see how they gel. They still got training camp to figure things out. So let's talk a little NBA. It's the LeBron watch, people. Where will LeBron end up next season? We'll discuss that one next with Eddie House.
No mercy.
The Lakers are the clear favorites to sign LeBron James, according to OddsShark. They're followed by the Sixers and a possible return to the Cavaliers. According to The Ringer's Kevin O'Connor, LeBron is only willing to listen to those free agent pitches from those three teams and the Houston Rockets. LeBron can opt out of his current contract next week, and can sign on July 1st. We are now joined by FS1's NBA analyst, Eddie House.
How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How y'all doing?
Good, bro.
We need some wisdom here.
Eddie,
I'm going to try to drop a little bit on you.
Yes, please. We need the wisdom here. What is your gut feeling on where LeBron ends up, and also what other free agents could join him?
Well, I was looking at this question last night, and I was thinking, Boston would be a good fit for him because I want him to stay in the East. I don't want him to come West and have to battle through all these guys just to get to the finals. But Boston is kind of cap-strapped, so it's going to be tough for them to make some moves and keep some of the pieces without losing some of their very, very nice young pieces. So I look at Philadelphia. I'm not really feeling that. What's starting to come to fruition, I think, is Los Angeles is starting to look that way. We know he has houses out here. Can he lure another guy like Chris Paul, who's trying to lure him to the Rockets? Can he get a Paul George to come to the Lakers? Can they pull off another move and get another player? I think the Lakers are in position, and they have the assets and they have the flexibility cap-wise to make those things happen. And I think that's the reason why he probably will end up in L.A., especially with his business endeavors that he want to do off the court and after his career is over with. L.A. is the place for all those things. So with all that being said, the Lakers are starting to look like the front runners for the LeBron sweepstakes.
Looking at it, Skip, I don't even know if LeBron knows where he's going to end up. This is what we do know. If the Cleveland Cavaliers keep that pick, he's not going back to Cleveland. If I'm the Cavaliers and I want to try to entice LeBron to stay, who can I package this? Who can I give this pick to get a veteran player that can help LeBron? Okay, LeBron can go anywhere else with maybe not Boston and have a down year. You can't go to the Lakers and have a down year because they got too much history. They got statues of 6 guys that are living when you walk into that arena. So you don't get off time there. Because the expectation, be it from Mikan when they was in Minneapolis, to from Wilt, to Kareem, to Shaq, to Magic, to Kobe, there is no off time with the Lakers. And it's great. I don't believe, as great as LeBron is, and they got some nice young pieces, LeBron and those young pieces are ready to tackle Golden State. It's also hard to see him going to L.A., Skip, he got to have talked to Paul George, and Paul George says, I'm coming, bro.
I agree.
We know Kawhi's made it's being reported that Kawhi's made it abundantly clear. In 2019, he's heading here. Well, that makes him very, very difficult because I'm not giving up a Jaylen Brown and a draft pick and maybe another player for a guy I'm only getting for 1 year.
It's for Boston
to give that. I'm not giving that up, Skip. So, yeah, L.A. looks good. But if you were to give LeBron James true serum today and say, LeBron, where you playing? I guarantee you, I can't tell you. I don't know. Because he doesn't, Skip, because there's so many unknowns.
Yep.
But look, L.A., everybody keeps saying L.A., you got 2 houses out here and, his business, all that other stuff. Look, look here, Warren Buffett is the 3rd or 4th richest man in the world. He lives in Omaha, Nebraska. When you got that kind of money, you can live anywhere and do anything you want to do. So L.A., LeBron James is going to sell just as many sneakers from Cleveland or Philly or Boston or anywhere else he go as he would in L.A. Just because he's in L.A., he's not going to sell any more merchandise. But L.A. does look good, but he has to have assurances from Paul George or somebody that they're joining him.
So, I'm with that. As much as I believe LeBron James belongs with the Lakers, it feels to me like that's the perfect place for him to end his career, like he was born to end his career in purple and gold. he doesn't want to be all dressed up in purple and gold with no place to go, as in no help there either.
Correct.
Right? Just a bunch of kids around him. And it's starting to smack of, are you going to go by yourself? Because I'm not so sure. Like, Kawhi can't, I don't think he's going to be able to force an immediate trade to the Lakers.
Right.
It just doesn't smell right to me. I don't think LeBron wants to wait a year for Kawhi because he's going to be in his 16th year next year. Does he really want to go play a year in L.A. with all that pressure, with no help to speak of, with no wing men? And I don't know. I keep reading different things about Paul George. I'm not so sure that he's going to jump at the opportunity to join LeBron in L.A.
Okay.
Well, if he doesn't, who will?
Right.
Chris Paul has verbally committed to stay in Houston and is actively recruiting LeBron to go to Houston. Okay, so let's do that. Would I give them a shot? I would give those three a shot, Harden, Chris Paul, LeBron, of at least competing with Golden State in the conference finals. But the point I raised yesterday, can you really see LeBron living and playing in Houston? Because I can't. It just doesn't seem right. It doesn't fit my eye test. Does he belong in a Rockets uniform at the end of his career?
It wouldn't look right, but you know what? Also, they would have to deplete their roster to have it done. They don't have that much.
No Capella. Capella, you're going to lose Capella. You're probably going to lose Ariza. Probably Tucker.
So,
Eric Gordon.
Eric Gordon.
With all that right there, now you got those three. That's still not enough to get over the hump.
Okay, so I told you there's one scenario that works in L.A. and only one, and LeBron would have to convince Kevin Durant to leave Golden State and join him in L.A. And I'm pretty sure Kevin has 2 houses in Southern California also, or at least in the L.A. area.
It would be fitting because what do greats normally do? What did Wilt do? Where did he end his career, Skip? Where did Kareem come? What about Shaq?
Okay, I buy that. No, I agree. That fits my eye test.
Yeah.
But you need a real wingman, and there's only one, and it's Kevin Durant. And if you could weaken Golden State and just in a shock, in a moment, strengthen the Lakers.
Oh, if the Lakers got Kevin Durant and LeBron, it's over for the West. Nobody can beat them.
Who would they put around them? Didn't matter?
They could put me and you around them. Me and you around them going to win 60 games. They put somebody else around, they might win 74, 75.
And don't you agree, Eddie? Their games would fit. I think they're a good match.
Yeah, I think so too because, you know, Kevin Durant is not like so much of a super alpha. He's more of a I'm a alpha. I'm a dog hooper, but personality-wise, he's kind of a secondary personality. LeBron is kind of like the same too. At times can be dominant, but at times could defer, and I think they will have a good balance right there. And they're 2 different type of players.
Yes.
Very 2 different. One is a real ISO player. You get him in that elbow, that free throw line extended area. He ISO you hard to guard. LeBron more downhill, go downhill, get to the rack, maybe shoot some threes if you go under. So I think they will mesh perfect.
Which brings us back to the East and your point of you don't want to leave the East and go to the beasts in the West. And with Philly, I would like them with LeBron, but I don't know if I would love them. I don't know if it'd be a slam dunk that they would win the East.
Yes.
Would they be able to sign J.J. Redick back? That would be the question. They signed him for $20 million. They got 27 cap space. So they right now without signing him. So if they re-sign him,
LeBron
be able to sign LeBron. Yeah, so
you have to lose.
They're gonna go over the cap. It's a lot of bad.
Just signing LeBron gonna put you over the cap
because
he won max, so which is gonna be about $40 million a year. So what? No Redick. You probably lose Covington. You're gonna lose one of those bigs. Nah. Look, and what is it?
As far as money, I think the Lakers is the one that fits the best as far as money and cap-wise, and you could maybe have some more pieces with you. I think everywhere else you're going to deplete the roster, and it's just going to be you, somebody. You're not going to have no role players.
It's going to be Carmelo Anthony going to the Knicks again, Skip. He wanted out of Denver so bad, but they had to deplete the roster to get him. That when he got there, he looked around like, "What the." No, bro, we had to give up everything just to get you.
They got him Iverson. What was left to Iverson?
Yeah, no, but they got Iverson in Denver. Yeah.
Oh, in Denver. I thought you meant
Denver. No, but when they traded him to the Knicks.
To the Knicks.
Knicks had to give up so much to get him that when he got there, it was just
there's nothing left.
Nothing.
Well, I hear you, which brings us back to would he stay in Cleveland? And you brought it up yesterday. It's the first objective point you've ever made about LeBron James. You got to commit. You got to tell him yes or no, and you need to tell him before tomorrow night. Yes.
Well, they're trying to work out something with Kemba, and we'll give him that 8 pick, and Kevin Love.
Okay.
To get Kemba Walker?
No, for Kawhi.
Oh, for
Kawhi?
Yeah.
Oh, for Kawhi.
The 8th pick in Kevin Love.
And see, I don't see the Spurs trading Kawhi to the Lakers, because then you'll have to, if you create a team over there, you got to constantly, that's who you're going to have to beat. Yeah. You created that team. I don't see the Spurs helping the Lakers out in that way. Now,
they might not have no choice. Kawhi's made it abundantly clear, I ain't playing for y'all. Because I don't want y'all to think I'm faking on y'all time. Mm-hmm. I might be faking on somebody else's time, so y'all don't have to worry about this anymore.
Well, that could get you sent to anywhere, to Brooklyn.
Okay.
And go get all their assets, or somebody that's losing. That could get sent. You could send him there for the 1 year and get some assets, and then,
Brooklyn would be a fool, but I'm not surprised because they gave up all those assets for Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, so nothing will surprise me about Brooklyn. But you would be a fool after Kawhi Leonard has told you he's leaving no matter where you ship him to, unless it's the Lakers after 2019. I'm not giving up my young picks, my young talent for 1 year. Nah.
Somebody might do that if they're in a playoff hunt, feel that they he puts them over the top to win a championship. Somebody might do that.
I don't know, maybe.
And that will be at the All-Star break.
I don't know.
I
need to reassess that.
There's so many dominoes that have to fall after LeBron makes his decision. Do you think we'll be waiting a while, or this happens pretty quickly?
I don't know. I think the draft is going to kind of form.
Yes.
And let him get a clear view of what he really wants to do. So it all depends on what they do with that 8th pick. I mean, they could do a lot with it. They could end up getting Trae Young. That might help him out because he could play off the ball. Trae Young's a hell of a passer. I think that's his best attribute.
That's his only attribute.
All right, guys, we will see. Eddie, thank you so much for joining us. Up next, Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott joins the show. We'll be right back.
No mercy.
Our next guest is the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott. Welcome to Undisputed. Hey, Dak.
How are you doing? Thank y'all for having me on.
No,
we have the best young quarterback in football join us right here, right now. Right, Shannon?
Yeah, we got one of the best quarterbacks joining us.
Yeah, one of them.
Hey, so Dak is here on behalf of Ready, Raise, Rise in the fight against cancer. Can you tell us what you're doing with them?
Yeah, I'm with my second team today, Bristol-Myers Squibb, who I've partnered up for the second year in a row on this campaign of Ready, Raise, Rise, and it's to educate and bring awareness to the immuno-oncology research that we're doing, and which focuses on the uniqueness of each individual's cancer cells, as well as helping your immune system fight off cancer itself within the body. So it's something super special and near dear to my heart. Everyone knowing my story of what I went through with my mom. So here trying to help and bring awareness.
So Dak, obviously you did lose your mom to cancer. Give us some idea. What was she like, and how much of her is still in you?
Yeah, I mean, a lot. When my mom got sick, my mom, she just simply said, allow me to be your story. All greats have a story. And at that moment, I told her I didn't need a story to be great. But fast forward to where we are today, that's exactly what I'm trying to do. And that just brings me forward to saying our challenge with the Ready, Raise, Rise campaign this year is to go to ReadyRaiseRise.com, post a photo of yourself with the Ready, Raise, Rise sign, and just show us your uniqueness, how powerful you are, dealing with cancer, knowing someone that's dealing with cancer, or just being healthy, so we can raise money. With 100 submissions, Bristol-Myers Squibb has promised to donate $250,000. So I'm sure we can get to 100 by the time we finish with this show.
I hope so.
So, Dak, let's change gears. Let's talk some football. You probably heard that my partner across the table, the Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe, says that Carson Wentz is clearly better than Dak Prescott. I say it's obvious that Dak Prescott is better than Carson Wentz, and you say what to that?
I'm going to let y'all continue to be great on TV.
No, you have no opinion of that?
I have no opinion. I know how good I can be and how good I'm going to be.
All right, let's try this. I gave you some breaks for last year because you got some bad breaks you could not control. I gave you as a quarterback a B for the year. My partner across the table gave you an F for the year. What would you give yourself for last year's performance? What letter grade?
Yeah, I'd probably say C. I mean, it was average as could be. I mean, it's got to be better than that. It's got to be. I have higher expectations for myself. The Cowboys have higher expectations for myself and for our team and for our organization. So to finish the year off 9-7, I mean, a lot of teams, a lot of organizations count that as a win, but it's not in Dallas. So I mean, we've got a ways to go, but we've made some things work, and we're heading to this offseason and getting ready for camp, feeling good about ourselves.
Stephen Jones says this Cowboys offense needs to be more Dak friendly. What does a Dak friendly offense mean to you?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what he means there, but it just has to be more balanced all the way around. We know we've got a great back in Ezekiel Elliott. We've got a lot of different guys that'll be playing at receiver with the departure of Dez and Jason. It's a lot of guys that you don't necessarily know about. So, I mean, I think you can just expect the ball to be spread around everywhere. I mean, I think our best games are when I have 8 different guys with catches or something in that area, and then Zeke dominating on the run game and us just opening it up and not knowing what to expect from our offense.
So do you enjoy the called runs? Do you enjoy running the zone read occasionally? And would you like to do more of that in a Dak-friendly offense?
Well, the zone reads, I mean, you have to take what the defense gives you. And that's if the defensive end is biting down, then of course I'm fine with pulling the ball because, I mean, that's the right play, that's the right read there. So whether it's called more or not, I'm all up for whatever we have to do to win, to get first downs.
Do you enjoy running the football?
I do. I rather pass it and let those other guys go do the job, but I do enjoy running the ball.
Dak, I want to ask you this. Why weren't you and Dez able to have a better rapport? I know you threw the ball to him in practice. I knew you probably worked with him after practice. Why in games did it not correlate to better numbers between you and him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly sure. I can't necessarily wrap my finger around that, or would have been able to fix it for the most part. So not real sure. I mean, as you said, we spent time. We worked in practice. We worked outside of practice. We put in the extra time, and I mean, but who knows? Who knows?
So which of those two will you miss the most between Dez and Witten?
Oh, that's hard. I mean, both of those guys are great players, and both of those guys did a lot for our organization, having a lot of success. Neither of those guys, I'll say this, can be replaced. You have guys that come in and have to do their job, and maybe they can be replaced by a committee, but going into this offseason after we lost those guys, we didn't say we needed to get this person or that person to replace Dez or replace Jason. So we've got some guys, though. We've got some young guys that will come in and fill the void.
And are you surprised Dez doesn't have a job yet?
I'm not surprised. I mean, it's just the simple fact of who knows what these contract talks are about. I mean, everybody knows he turned down the one deal. I haven't been in the contract negotiation situation yet, so I don't necessarily know the ins and outs and how that works, but I'm sure he's just waiting for the right fit, the right money, and everything to work out for him. But I know he'll be on the team.
Skip and I debated this. You said the Cowboys are going to surprise some people in 2018. I was taken aback by that because you are the Cowboys, the most recognizable sports franchise in all the world, and you don't get to surprise people. What did you mean by you're going to surprise some people? You're going to surprise some people with the win-loss record or how good Dak Prescott's going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. When you play for the Dallas Cowboys, it's not necessarily like you're surprising people, but what I meant is people have certain expectations for us. So going into this year, we know how good we can be. We know the players that we have on this team. So when I say surprise, I think what I mean is their expectations will change, hopefully, throughout the season.
But, yeah, Dak, and again, I'm speaking as a very long-time Dallas Cowboy fan, a fan of yours. Just 1 year ago today, you guys were a Super Bowl contender. You were arguably the favorite to win the NFC East, if not the NFC. And it's sort of come full circle to an okay draft and sort of not many moves in free agency. And I think we would all have to agree you're not quite the team you were a year ago. Is that fair to say?
On paper, I'm sure. On paper, you can say that. As you said, a year ago, we were coming off of a great season, a 13-3 record, and a great season, as you said. So, I mean, but going into the Super Bowl champions this year, a year ago, I don't know if you said they're in that position. So, on paper, yeah, we're a different team. But as I said, we know where we want to go, and we know what we got to do to get there. We like where we're at.
You know, because you guys were in the same draft, you play in the same division. The comparisons between you and Carson Wentz are never going to cease until both of you guys are out of the league. Do you watch him? Do you watch what he does? Or are you comparing? You're like, man, he had a good game. I need to go out and have a good game.
I wouldn't say I'm necessarily comparing stats or comparing plays. But as you said, we're both in the same draft class. He was one of the, I guess you can say, partners or other quarterbacks that I liked into the draft, and I knew how talented he was. So when I watch Carson, I'm just watching his game. I've got a lot of respect for him for what he does. And as you said, I mean, I embrace those comparisons. I embrace the competition. We'll be longtime rivals getting to play each other twice a year, hopefully for a long time in our career. So excited to see what the future holds for both of us.
So describe you as a quarterback versus him as a quarterback? How different are your games in your view?
I mean, he's a big physical player. I mean, I think as well as I am too. But I don't know if I necessarily broke his game down enough to say these are the differences. This is the pluses here, the minuses there, and then vice versa for myself. But as I said, he's a great player. He's a great player that I can watch, always learn something from, always trying to learn something from other players in general. So he's a great player and will continue to be if he continues the way he's playing.
Do you get upset by the constant comparisons between you and he?
No, not at all. I don't necessarily pay attention to the comparisons. I know I just got to be the best that I can be for my team and for the Dallas Cowboy organization, and that's all I really worry about.
So should the Philadelphia Eagles be the prohibitive favorite to win your division this year?
I mean, I don't necessarily pay attention to the favorites. As I said, I'll let you guys on TV who are great at, or think you're great at predicting and knowing what you know. So as I said, I just know what the Dallas Cowboys have and where we need to be and where we're going, and I'm so excited about that and ready to get into training camp.
On paper, are they better than you at this moment?
On paper, who knows? I mean, you tell me on paper. They won the Super Bowl last year.
I think they won the Super Bowl with their backup quarterback, which is a shock to me. And who knows? Maybe their backup quarterback will be their starting quarterback.
See what I'm saying, Dak? See what I have to go through every day, Dak? See what I'm talking about? Yeah. This is what we talked about on the plane ride back.
So Dak, what we talked about.
Give me something to hang on to as a fan. Give me some off-radar player that you say so-and-so is going to rise and shine and surprise people. One of your receivers. Who do you look at just through your mini camps and say, hey, so-and-so could be something next year?
Yeah, I mean, I expect, and you all know his name, Cole Beasley. I expect him to be an all-around receiver, inside, outside, moving him around. He's a guy that's hard to cover, and he has a knack for the game, he has a knack for getting open. But we also have some young receivers that a couple of the guys that have come in, had great OTAs, great mini camps, spent a lot of time working with them in the offseason, that I think they have a lot to them, and that if they come in with the right mindset and continue to get better, they could be good receivers in this league for a long time.
And by the way, what happened to Cole Beasley last year? His production dropped off like by half almost? What was he getting doubled more than usual?
Yeah, I mean, when you have a year like he had the year before, defenses are good, and defenses get paid in this league too. So they come in and they double him, they bracket him, they put 2 or 3 guys on him inside. He just got more coverage, got more notice the year before, and defenses took note of that.
Dak, when you set goals for yourself in 2018, how much are those stat-based compared to wins-based?
No, they're all win-based. I know if we're winning, the stats are going to be there, and I know they're going to come. And if we're not, then obviously the stats aren't going to be there. So everything about me is all about winning, just trying to get wins, to get ourselves a chance to get into that postseason. And then once you're into that, it's one win at a time. So just worried about winning that game 1 in Carolina.
So what do you think, 12 wins next year?
I think a lot of wins.
A lot of wins? You got to give us something, Dak? 11?
Nah, you call it, Skip. I like your predictions, Skip. I like your predictions.
I got 10. Will you buy into 10?
I'll buy in.
Yeah, that'll work for me. Yeah.
I'll buy in. Yes.
Philly's going to go 9-7 next year.
What do you guys, Shannon?
Well, Skip and I got a couple of cases of dudes that you guys are not going to make the playoffs.
Yep.
So I don't really want to go on record and say what I think the win total will be, but I don't think the win total will be enough to get you guys into the playoffs. But I think I hope you have a great season, but I just want to win my bet, though.
Nah, sorry about that bet.
Oh, you said I'm going to lose my bet.
I just said sorry about that bet.
Yeah, I think that was a prediction, and I'll take that.
So Dak, now he's in the prediction business.
I'm not in the prediction business. I'm leaving that to y'all.
He's in the back it up business, and he's going to back up what he just said.
Well, I need him to back up. I know he has an F-150 or some type. I need you to back that truck up and bring me 20 cases of Sprite when I win my bet, Dak.
Yeah.
All right, Dak, hold on there for 1 minute. We're going to take a quick timeout, but more Dak Prescott coming up. We will be right back.
No mercy.
Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott is back with us.
Dak, you have talked very openly about how it's time for you and Zeke to become the leaders of this team without Dez, without Witten. And yet, recently you and Zeke took a little trip to Key West and you purchased some squirt guns in the shape of male body parts and you took them to the nightclub with you. And obviously those images made their way onto the internet. Not the greatest of looks for leaders of the Dallas Cowboys. Do you have any regrets about that?
I mean, it was a boys' trip. We were there with a couple of teammates hanging out. I mean, I guess the regrets are just being out there, knowing that we're in public, where pictures or something could be exposed.
How are you going to lead? Are you a vocal leader? Or are you a do as I do, just watch what I do? How are you going to lead this team?
A little bit of both. And I feel like I've been a leader in that way already, as kind of do as I do, but then as I do that, it allows me to be vocal. It allows me to speak up. As a leader, you can't try to tell or get somebody to do something if you're not doing it, or if you're not doing it the right way or hard enough. So my motto is lead by example, and then it allows me to be able to be vocal off of that.
To get back to Skip. To get back what you said this was a boys' trip, and you have to realize, but you do understand that being a leader, being a quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys comes with huge responsibilities and things that a normal 23, 24-year-old could do, and nobody would bat an eye. You being a professional athlete, you being the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, get viewed a different type of way.
Right. Yeah, I understand that. I get that completely. That's why I said that if there was the regrets, that's where they were.
Yeah. Look, the point is, Dak, as Shannon will attest, I believe in you. I believe you're Brady-esque. I believe you can lead a team that is very difficult to lead, because I can make a case that playing quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys might be the toughest position to play in sports because of the scrutiny and the spotlight. But I believe you and Zeke have the capability of growing into those leadership roles, because I've seen some growth in Zeke, and can you comment on what you've seen in his maturity level over the last year or so?
Yeah, Zeke is definitely, as you said, there's been a lot of growth in Zeke on the field and off the field. What he's doing on the field, the way he's getting better and leading by example. Says a little bit on the field, but he allows his actions and his play speak a ton, and they definitely do that. He works hard. He's one of the hardest working football players we have, and it shows out there at practice. And then off the field as well. So, I mean, I'm not going to let a weekend in Key West deteriorate the way he's grown as a leader, the way he's grown as a man. So we'll put it behind us and we'll learn.
How did the Zeke situation impact you, this team? How much did that affect how you guys played last year?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it affected us mentally, but as you saw as we got out there and we played, you try to say it and be cliche, saying that it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? We can move on. We'll be okay. But things just weren't clicking the same way. And when you lose a great player like that, it shows, and it showed last year.
Now that you look back on it with some hindsight, how unfair do you think the 6-game suspension was?
I mean, I think it was unfair, but that's not me to make a statement or to pull. I'm just glad it's all over with. I know he's happy it's over with. The Cowboys organization is as well.
The one thing Dak Prescott wants to get better at in 2018 is?
Everything. Shannon, I'm a young player, so it's hard for me to just say one thing, but I know for a fact I've just got to be more consistent in everything that I do on the field, whether it's accuracy, whether it's checking the ball down, whether it's taking the deep shot and getting the completions on. It's just got to be more consistent.
And how hard do you find it to be the Dallas Cowboy quarterback? Has it been any different than you expected it would be? Because you sort of got thrown into the fire, obviously, with Tony going down.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only way that I know. I wouldn't want to play for any other team, any organization. Growing up a Dallas Cowboys fan, so being able to wear the star on my helmet, represent the Dallas Cowboys, it's everything. It gives me an amazing opportunity, not only to go play the game I love and do it in front of the best fans in America, but it gives me the platform as I have today to tell my mom's story, to share, to be able to encourage, inspire, and then hopefully change some lives as I'm doing with Bristol Myers Squibb and the Ready Raise Rise campaign today.
What's it like to play for Jerry Jones?
It's fun. I mean, I don't think there's one person that works for the Cowboys organization that dislikes Jerry. He's a very personable guy. He's funny, and he's a great boss.
Jerry puts a lot of pressure on you guys.
That's fine. Pressure's what you put on yourself, so it's all right.
He actually takes a lot of pressure off them occasionally, right? Some of the things he says.
In a way.
Well, I'm good, bro. I wish you the best of luck. You know, hey, I want you to have a great season, but I do really want to win my bet with Skip. I'm just being all honest, all the way 100 with you, Dak. I want you to
understand the honesty.
Throw for 5,000 yards, get 40-plus touchdowns, but if I win my bet, drinks on me.
Trust me, if I do that, we're going to win a lot of games.
Dak, we got this. You know it, and I know it.
All right, we'll have to circle back around to that one, Dak. Shannon is putting the pressure on you. But thank you so much for joining us.
We appreciate it.
All right, should the 49ers be worried about Jimmy Garoppolo's struggles in minicamp? We'll discuss that one next.
No mercy.
Jimmy Garoppolo struggled big time in 49ers camp last week. According to Niners beat writers, Garoppolo missed 11 of his final 16 throws, did not complete a single deep pass, and caused 4 straight false starts. Garoppolo said, quote, "It's all on the quarterback." Shannon, how much do you read into this?
Not much. It's nice to hear. It's really refreshing, Skip, because normally every quarterback is Hall of Fame worthy in OTAs when nothing really matters. So it's nice to see that he's having some problems. But for me, Skip, if you thought Jimmy Garoppolo was as good as his 7-0 record would indicate, you're fooling yourself. He's still a young quarterback. He only has 7 starts. Now they're putting the entire offense in. There's a lot on his plate. He'll be just fine. But stop thinking that he's Brady after only 7 starts.
Yet. He got his honeymoon last year.
Yes.
He did go 5-0 in San Francisco, but he had 7 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. Not bad, not great. Right. And yet now the pressure will start because the honeymoon is over.
Correct.
Now he will become the quarterback Belichick thought would be better than Tom Brady at this stage of Tom's career.
And because of what they paid him, Skip, they given him $28 million a year. The guy only had, at the time, he only had 7 starts. So that's a lot of money for really an unproven quarterback. And given the history of the quarterbacks that's come through San Francisco, Joe Montana and Steve Young, that's what you're up against, because moving forward, that's what everybody's going to be up against in New England. The ghost of Tom Brady. That's what you ultimately get compared to.
I think Garoppolo has the ghost of Brady a little bit looking over his shoulder.
Because
starting next year.
As you mentioned, this was the guy that the head coach that had coached Brady thought was better than Brady and wanted to replace him with.
Whew.
Jimmy, you better be good.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. We're back again tomorrow morning at 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.